I'm going to record our virtual family reception for our families who can't make it. Hello, welcome to our virtual family reception. My name is Haley Myers Dillon, and I'm the director of the Parents and Families program here at Sac State. And we are so happy to have you joining us and some campus leaders to welcome you and your students. We have a social evening tonight planned for you. We're going to hear from campus leaders and, we're going to wait a little, just a couple minutes and let people join. We've got a few more people coming in. And as we're waiting for people to join, I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who were able to join us for the virtual Parent and Family Lounge on Monday. And you talked to us about your experience with move-in day, moving your students in on campus. It sounds like it was an amazing and smooth move-in session. So happy to hear it. We've got families with students living in North Village. We've got families with students who have moved to Hornet Commons, the new housing complex near campus, and students who are living off campus too. So that was fun to hear from all of you. I've been talking to a lot of parents with questions for new students coming onto campus. And so, we are happy to help you with those questions that are, whether they're really simple questions or they're a little more complex, we're here for you. And we continue to let a few people in. We just had our Vice President of Student Affairs, Ed Mills, join. Hey, Ed, how you doing? And I see Mackenzie. Thanks for being here, Mackenzie. Hey, Audi, nice to see you. Hi, Bill. Thanks for being here. So as we're waiting, we're just going to give people a couple more minutes to join. Does anyone have a fun story to share about their students starting at Sac State? And if you don't, I have a fun story about a student I got to see recently. You can
not a fun story, but he was excited.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
First time on campus?
Yes, for a living. Yeah, and because of COVID last year.
Oh, okay. And your son, what is he studying?
Kinesiology.
Okay. And where is he living?
Courtyard, something Courtyard?
American River Courtyard.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, great. That's a wonderful building. When were you able to go with him for move-in?
Yeah, I helped him.
Nice. Well, I have a fun story about a student I was able to meet. So I taught a developing student leadership class for Summer Bridge students over the summer, and it's a virtual class. And one of my students, she and I bonded a little bit, and we just were talking and getting to know each other over the computer. And she got in touch with me just this week and mentioned that she was on campus, and I was able to meet her in person yesterday and buy her a cup of coffee and just hear how her semester's going. And it was so fun to meet her and catch up in person. Her and her mom are really close, and I don't know if her mom is going to be able to join tonight, but I just want you to know, I know a lot of people's students are feeling a little insecure as they start at Sac State. They're not sure who they might, where they can go for help, and they can always come to the Parents and Families program. I'd love to meet your student and buy them a cup of coffee. So you can tell them to come find me in Lassen Hall or shoot me an email, and we can get together. So thank you for your patience as we kind of wait to get everyone admitted who might be here. Let's go ahead and get started. I'd love to kick off our evening and introduce you to our president, Sac State President, Dr. Robert Nelsen. Thanks so much for being here, President Nelsen.
Thank you. Haley, it ain't the same. Let's admit it. Okay, we're all on Zoom right now. I'd love to be meeting with all of you. We usually do this at the end of move-in day, and we're all around and we're all sweaty and, but we've got a Coke in our hands and we're enjoying each other. And tonight we're enjoying each other in a different way. I am so happy that at this point, the the North Village, 96% occupied. Our students back, we're back. Hornet Commons has got 556 students in it. We're back. And that just is so exciting. I can't believe that we're finally at a point after where our students weren't together. 46% of our students are having classes that are face-to-face. And that's amazing. And 61% of our students have at least one class online. Going to college is about being together. It's about being in the residence hall. It's about having a family, creating a Hornet family, and making everyone come together. Students are coming back to 450 classrooms. They're totally renovated. They're going to get the best education as possible. All of the parents out there, I know you were nervous. I'm not certain my parents were nervous. They were glad to get rid of me when I left. But I know a lot of you are nervous and wondering, we'll take care of them. We're here for them. We are a Hornet family. We are part of your Hornet family. You've gone from parents to being uncles and aunts and grandparents. They're ours now, and we really do care about them. So thank you for entrusting us with your family.
Thank you, President Nelsen. Can we get a stingers up for our favorite president, everybody?
Sac State is #1. Stingers up.
Woohoo. You know, we are meant to have a social evening tonight, so it feels so formal with us muted. You know, thank you for listening and for being respectful. Feel free to, you know, type in a chat. Up next, I'd like to introduce you to Vice President of Student Affairs, Ed Mills. Hey, Ed, thanks for joining us.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to echo the welcome to all of you, and I wish that we were in person doing all of this. It's been really fun this week to be on campus and to be able to see students on campus, to see students move in last week to the residence halls. And, you know, I'm starting to have some of the experiences that I didn't realize I was missing so much. The other day I was in front of one of our classroom buildings, and the student asked me, looked very worried, and she said, you know, do you know where Alpine Hall is? And I said, yes, you're standing in front of it. And she just, you know, kind of all of her stress just melted and she ran in the building. I'm sure she was late for her class, but she found it. You know, another one of the students that was this morning, I was there early waiting for Starbucks to open. And there was a little group of us all waiting there for Starbucks to open. Everybody was on their phone looking down. And not being of the phone generation, I decided to start talking to people, which I think is a little startling that early in the morning for students. But I started just saying hello and asking them. And by the time Starbucks opened, we were only there about 10 minutes early. You know, several of our students had met each other. And were, you know, I even saw 2 students exchanging, you know, cell phone numbers, as those things were not happening in these little boxes. And so the ability for folks, the strange part is, you know, we're all wearing masks. And so I'm really learning how to understand when somebody is smiling. What did they used to call that? Smizing, right? On the one show that was on TV. You have to be able to smile with your eyes, or when they look lost with their eyes. And I know they need directions somewhere, but it's been wonderful to see the students. I've also been talking to a lot of students that are still maybe have online courses or having a mix of online and in person. And I think students are much more adept to how to approach those classes this year than they were last year. And so they've developed a lot of skills, as have our faculty, in how to connect in very different ways. And some of the learning we had in the pandemic actually is allowing us to expand our services, to create advising appointments in the evenings via Zoom, rather than just trying to be open every day 8 to 5, or to really be able to connect in programs in different ways with students who maybe can't get to campus at a certain time. And so they have an ability to join virtually as well as being able to come and be in person. So we've really expanded our ability to connect with students, but I have to say it's wonderful to see them on campus. And I look forward to seeing and meeting many of you at different events as the fall goes forward and as we get a chance to be together more and more. And I hope we continue to see the pandemic in the rear view mirror as we get past all of this. So welcome again to Sac State, and I'm just thrilled to be able to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Ed. I also hope we can start to put the pandemic in our rearview mirror. I want to echo what Ed said for everybody. You know, campus is feeling really alive and really vibrant. A lot of the coffee shops and eateries are open. The students are hanging out outside and studying at the public tables. And it's really nice to see, you know, the air quality has been a little better this week. And if we've got any families who are near the Calder fire, I just want to extend my condolences and my sympathy and support and love to you. And I hope that you and your family are all right. Thanks so much for being here. If you're just joining us. Up next, we're going to hear from our Dean of Students, Bill McChris. Bill, thanks for joining us. How's your night going?
Good. Can you hear me? Good. Having a little technical difficulties on my side, but I'm glad you can hear. First off, I want to also welcome everybody for being here and thanking you for taking the time to visit with us this evening. My name is Bill McChris. I'm the Interim Dean of Students in the Division of Student Affairs, and I want to let you know that your children are in good hands at Sacramento State. We really do take seriously that we're a caring campus. President Nelsen, Ed Mills, our Provost Steve Perez, you're not going to find a better group of leaders anywhere. And I want you to know the passion for your students, the caring for your students that permeates all the way into every area, every department, caring faculty and staff. We take very seriously this role and responsibility that we have of helping mentor and helping your child grow over these next several years. It's been wonderful to see the care of the students. I know how stressful the pandemic has been for everybody, but watching the students getting along and really you can tell how happy they are to be back amongst one another, and but still caring for one another, being mindful of each other, being appreciative while they do have questions and we're here to help them. I've just been so impressed of how appreciative they are of the support and of the help. To that end, I want you to know that we have a number of different types of support. And let me start with me. I just put in the chat my email address and my phone number. Please write it down or save it in some way, and feel free to reach out to me if your son or daughter, if your child's having an issue at all, or if you've got a question. We're here to serve you and your student for these next 4 years. And so please know that our doors are open, our phone lines are open. We are here to help. And beyond just myself, within the Division of Student Affairs and specifically in student engagement and success, we have a number of services, be it academic advising, student orgs and leadership. But we also have services for students with disabilities. We have the CARES office, which can provide emergency support if your child is in crisis. We have experts that can be here to help deal with some of the anxieties that they're going to be dealing with. And if they have financial issues, we have emergency funds to be able to help out in a time of crisis and need. There's technology support through IRT and through the Hornet bookstore that's available to your children. And we just want you to know that it's here and we can take, we encourage you to take advantage of it. Thanks to the federal HERF funds, we've got resources probably like we haven't had for a number of years, and we're here to serve and support your students. So I just want to leave that message with you. Again, never hesitate to give me a call if you have a question or a need. If there's anything that we enjoy the most, it's probably knowing that somebody is in need and we were able to help them, and to hear that stress come out of their voice, see that stress come off of their face. We really, we do what we do, and we get excited to come to work every day knowing that we're going to help a lot of young men and women grow and prepare themselves, not just for life in college, but for life beyond college. And that's really what we're trying to do here at Sacramento State. So with that, I'll want to just say thank you. Look forward to hopefully getting to meet some of you in the days, weeks, and months to come, and stingers up.
Thanks so much, Bill. So for those of you who are new to our Sac State family, you're probably starting to get the picture that we really are a caring campus, and people at Sac State are really genuine. We want to help your students, and we want to get to know your students too. So Bill and Ed, thank you so much for putting your contact info in the chat. For those of you just joining us, I want to welcome you and let you all know what to expect. So we're hearing from our campus leaders right now. And we're going to do that until about 7:25, and then we're going to open it up for questions and conversation from you as well. Up next, I want to introduce you to our new Chief of Police, Chet Madison. Thank you so much for joining us, Chief Madison.
Thank you, Haley. Just making sure everyone can hear me. Okay. Well, welcome parents of new guests and returning Sac State students. This is day 2 for me, and I spoke to a lot of students today and yesterday and told them, hey, you're new and I'm new, so we're going to get through this together. But I just want to reach out to all of you to let you know that your kids are safe here. There's phenomenal leadership here. 4 years ago, I was dropping my daughter off at a CSU campus down in Los Angeles, and I know as the first kid in my family to go off to college, it was kind of unnerving for me as I was driving back on I-5. But I can assure you, 4 years from now, they'll be just fine. And so if your kids have any issues or challenges, feel free. I know no one wants to come by the police department, but if they have anything that's on their mind or they want to get off their chest, please come by, or just to say hello. They're going to see a lot of me just walking around. I said good morning to about 50 kids today, and I think their heads were buried in their phones, but they still looked up and said hello. And so that made me feel good. There's a few things that I would like to make sure that you go over with your kids, and one is if they're having a bicycle on campus, please get a U-lock. Do not get a cable lock. The U-locks, we have yet to come across a U-lock that has not been manipulated. The cable locks, I know a lot of times you get those cable locks in the stores and you feel like they're safe, but they cut like butter for those that want to take advantage of some of the bicycles here on campus. So please, if you're going to have a bicycle on campus, make sure you invest in a U-lock. And then also I'd like to encourage, if you have a bicycle on campus, to register the bicycle here at the police department. That's very beneficial for us and for those that, if you come across a chance, if your bike does get taken or stolen, when it's registered, we get it back pretty much almost 80 to 90% of the time. So here, I just want to again reassure your children are safe here on campus. It's a great community here, and I look forward to meeting all of you in the months and the weeks to come. So go Hornets.
Thanks so much, Chief Madison. Next, we are going to hear from our Executive Director of Housing, Samuel Jones. Samuel, is that your correct title?
That's correct. Thank you, Haley. Good evening, everybody. I want to start with something I think that Ed said was that you're in capable hands. You've left your student with capable hands. Maybe you didn't in housing with Samuel, because I sent out an email to everybody that did not have the right information in it about the Zoom tonight. This is what happens when I send out the email versus somebody on my team who sends it out the correct way. But Dr. Nadine Kelly is on the emails and she's sending out the correct information the correct way in the email. So I do apologize for not knowing how to send out an email through our system. But I do want to welcome everybody to tonight and to being back on campus. I echo everything that everybody has said about it's really nice to see people back on campus in North Village as well as Hornet Commons, and then the students that are at the Upper East Side lofts as well. We have been excited. The staff have been planning things and getting things started so that students can come back to a normalcy. Dr. Kelly and I were talking the other day about sophomore students that are with us now. This is their very first time living on campus. And so we've been dealing with understanding what does that mean for them as they're getting to know their roommates, along with the thousands and thousands of packages that we have in our package system that we're trying to get out through our students. So I do want to welcome everybody. I do appreciate all of the nice gestures that people sent to us on Thursday for your first year students when they moved in and you had that long line. Everybody was very nice to us and polite to us. And we definitely wanted to get you through as quickly as possible with our COVID-19 protocols in place. But we're excited. We're here. I will put my information in the chat as well, because both Nadine and I are here to help your students be successful. And you can always email us or call us here in the housing office if you have any questions about anything. We are doing virtual programs and we're doing in-person programs as well. So you will definitely be, your students will be out of the halls and they will be doing things. You are on deck. Oops, sorry. It's my fantasy football time. So it's just wanted to let you know, we are working with our dining program with Airmark and Hornet Hospitality. There have been some challenges. Your students will be getting an email from us tomorrow, letting them know what we're doing in order to improve the servery so that students can have more choices in the servery. So that's a little bit, that's all I think I wanted to say. I wanted to give, I know Nadine's not on the agenda, but I wanted to give her a chance to say something since she is responsible for the residential education component of housing. So your students will be seeing her more than they'll probably see me.
Absolutely. Dr. Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing this evening? Thank you so much for joining us. I know I'm working to try to get some of you all in this meeting with us this evening. But yes, your students are definitely excited this evening from 5 to 7. We had cornhole out in the quad, so there was an activity this evening happening. We have movie nights planned for them coming up. A number of different events, just with a lot of campus partners. So we're really geared up to welcome them back, both virtually as well as in person. And as Samuel said, we're definitely working through things with Airmark for food service, but we're being very attentive. We see that you all have sent them tons of packages, things that they may have forgotten through Amazon. We are getting those by the hundreds, and we're making sure that that gets out to your student as soon as possible. But they all seem pretty excited. We're seeing them in the dining commons. We're seeing them walking around. It's great to actually see students on campus. So, thank you for letting your student join us and live on campus with us. So we're super excited. But if you have any questions, please connect with my team, connect with me, each of my staff. I do have a full-time professional staff person that both lives and works in every single building. So there is a full-time professional staff person that is over the RAs, that is over the building, that's working with your students to make sure that they have an entertaining and a respectful living and learning environment. So you can definitely connect with them if you need to. And if you're not able to get in touch with them, you can definitely reach out to me so I can do a more formal introduction for you. But definitely look forward to seeing you all on campus at different events. So stingers up.
Thank you, Nadine. Up next, it is my pleasure to introduce you to my dear friend and our parent ambassador, Audi Gutierrez Zavala.
Okay, good evening. Yes, so I have had the pleasure of being involved with the Parents and Families program since the fall of 2016. So this is my 5th year. So I guess I have to have a party for myself. But I want to say that one, just to start off, I am an alumni of Sac State. I actually received my bachelor's in ethnic studies and my master's in counseling and marriage, family, child counseling. So it was an honor for me and a surprise to have all three of my kids attend Sac State. Two are now current alumni. My eldest daughter, Alyssa, graduated with her bachelor's in gerontology. My daughter just graduated in May. Her name is Andrea, and she has her bachelor's in child development. And my son is currently a senior, and his degree, he's pursuing a degree in nutrition. All three of my children have lived with me and home, so that has also been a challenge. I thought it would be easier for them to live here, and it's actually sometimes more challenging. The expectations are obviously not realistic, thinking communication is better if they live at home, but that's not necessarily the case all the time. I would just want to just say that the biggest part to me that was a surprise is being a part of the Parents and Families program, being an alumni. I just thought that I knew a lot of stuff. I would go to Haley for a lot of things. My kids became very close with Haley, always asking, well, they would ask me to ask Haley. And she helped in a lot of crisis situations. And I think that that's one of the things as a parent, even though I was an alumni, I just thought I knew things, but things change all the time. And the communication has always been really awesome with the events that we would have to engage parents. And I think it's a home away from home. The biggest thing, I think it's just a sense of family, an extension of that. And I think that's what's refreshing, because not all campuses have that. And being able to have that connection for parents, whether their children are, living away from them, or even if they live with them, I think just having that sense of family and having that sense of community for parents is really crucial. And so it has been great for myself to be able to support other parents. And so any questions that any of the parents have, please let me know. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about this program, that it is something that even though we create this sense of community, but we also have this very open door policy where, sometimes we'll meet with them, whether it's for coffee, on campus, we'll email, do phone calls. And so I encourage all parents to be able to reach out, because especially during these, times of a lot of anxiety for our children with COVID, I think it is a great support for us all, not just for our children, but also for parents. So thank you all, and welcome to Sac State.
Thank you so much, Audi, for your kind words. Next, I would like to introduce you, if you haven't met her yet, to my graduate student assistant, Mackenzie Grass.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mackenzie. Like Haley said, I'm a graduate student. I do outreach and communications. So I typically help put together the newsletter, and I answer a bunch of your emails and or direct you to where they need to go. I am a transfer student from Sac City College. I transferred in as a student parent. So I had two children. I had a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old when I started at Sac State. And the first person I met at orientation was Haley, and she's really been such a mentor for me through everything, through my undergraduate program and now into my graduate program. I'm so grateful to be a part of Sac State. I'm also a first-generation college student for my family, so neither of my parents went to college, and it's a real honor to be working for Sac State, and I absolutely love working here. I hope to continue my career. So yeah, the type of leader I hope to be for your students is resourceful, and I hope to just be attentive to their emails and get them the information that they need, along with being relatable. So yeah, thank you, and welcome.
Thanks so much, Mackenzie. So, again, for those of you who are joining us, my name is Haley Myers Dillon. I'm the director of the Parents and Families program. And I just want to thank you all for being here and ask you to unmute yourselves. And let's give a round of applause to our awesome leadership who are here to say hello and welcome our Hornet family to campus. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice to hear you. So that's kind of our, our talking at you lineup. thanks for being patient. I see we have a lot of conversation and questions in the chat. So I'm going to go up to the first question I saw, and then also I'm getting some private messages that might be relevant to other people. So Chief Madison, we had a question about kind of like, how do students register a bike? The question from Denise Jessup is, what are the hours for bike registration at the police station?
Sure. So you can come to the police department, or you can go to any of the police department's 8 to 5. So you can come here 8 to 5, but we also have CSOs at all the bike compounds. So each bike compound has a little kiosk with the CSO that's working there. So when you go to secure your bike, if you have time before getting to class, they will assist you with that effort of getting it registered.
Thank you. And CSO stands for Community Service Officer. Is that right?
That's correct.
And those are students. And so someone was asking, does Sac PD have internships for students, criminal justice majors? And our Vice President of Student Affairs, Ed Mills, mentioned that we have this awesome CSO program. Ed or Chief Madison, can you say a little bit about that? I don't know.
Sure. The CSO program is a program that's been going on for years. It's a very robust program. It's a program that all the CSOs are students here on campus. So for those that are not familiar with the program, the CSOs are the ones that have the light blue shirts. And so they're not sworn officers, they don't carry a gun, but they're just as valuable because those are the individuals they're part of our campus community. They are students, they have classes. And so they actually come here and they work here and go to class here on campus. So we put them in obviously non-enforcement type of situations, like at the bike compound, registration the bikes, and stuff like that. So I highly recommend the program. A lot of these kids that are in the CSO program, these students, they go off and go into criminal justice, but you don't have to be a criminal justice major. We have students from engineering, all the colleges here on campus. So don't feel like you have to be a criminal justice major. We'll take criminal justice major, but you can be an engineer major, or you can be education. It doesn't make a difference.
Oh, thank you. We've got a compliment from Julie Dunkel to Samuel and Nadine, just saying thank you for the housing department's help and being responsive to her family. So excellent service. Thank you. We've got a question from Pat Wong. What are some areas and neighborhoods where students can take a leisurely hike? So I'm going to ask a whole bunch of people to jump in, but first I'm going to suggest that right outside our back door to campus, across the Guy West Bridge, is the American River Bike Trail, which is flat. So I don't know what sort of hike they're looking for, but it's 30 miles of bike trail if you head east to Folsom. And it's really lovely, especially as the weather gets a little cooler. It does not have lights. So if anyone is going at dusk, it does get really dark. But does anyone else have any suggestions for students to take hikes nearby?
I'll jump in, Haley. I would recommend that if they go over to the Guy West Bridge, right across the Guy West Bridge, and just past the American River Parkway, there's a neighborhood called Campus Commons, which is very similar to Sacramento State in terms of how green and tree filled it is. It's a quiet little neighborhood, really beautiful landscaping, couple of lakes, really lovely, and a great place to be able to go if you need to get away from the college for just a minute. It's a very safe neighborhood, very quiet neighborhood, not a lot of cars. And I'm a little biased because I live there, but it's a great little walking neighborhood. And you can throw on your earbuds, listen to some music or a podcast, and kind of get lost in there and just have a great time. It's kind of like the university in that there's a big road kind of around the exterior, so you really ultimately can't get lost in there, but it's really kind of a neat little place to visit and look around.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, we've got some conversations.
Haley, I was also gonna suggest Peak Adventures is making sure that your students get connected with Peak Adventures so they can go on set up plans to go out and visit different things as well throughout the semester with Peak Adventures.
Oh, thank you. And there's some Peak Adventures trips coming up just next week for your students. And those are on the Hornet Wow events page that I put in the chat. I see a question from Wanda asking, will there be a club tabling day and when? Actually, clubs are tabling right now. Isn't that right? It's club days in the quad and
Correct.
they are.
Yeah, club days are this week and next week. So there are a number of our clubs and organizations that are out tabling right now. We've got some over by Riverfront Cafe, but the majority of them are in the library quad, right adjacent to the University Union and the library. You know, students that are more engaged on campus will invariably see improvements in GPA, retention improves, graduation is quicker. So I would encourage you to encourage your children to find their group or their club that might suit their interests. Great way to make friends on campus, great way to really engage in extracurricular. So lots of great opportunities, lots of great clubs. That would be my recommendation.
Thanks, Bill. So I saw a question in the chat about COVID. Julie is asking, what is the COVID outbreak communications to parents protocol? Who should take that one?
I can talk a little bit more about that. So, you know, definitely we have come up with a series of protocols to address the pandemic on campus for students and for our employees. And so, you know, any student that has a positive test for COVID or is experiencing symptoms is encouraged to contact our student health center right away. On our main webpage, if you click student information, one of the top 4 little things that you'll see is to report COVID to the student health center. We've been doing this now for about 18 months, but our students, our medical professionals will reach out, interview the student, let them know what to do, self-quarantine, whether they need test, support. I know for many students, they also have care through a primary provider that may be insured through their families. And so we'll make sure that we can provide care in what is arguably, I think, the best student health center in the United States. And that's on our campus. But also, you know, in coordinating care if we need to with another health provider. From that perspective, you know, we will make sure we'll do a little bit of a risk assessment to make sure that student knows what to do. And if we do have a situation where others may have been in very close contact, and we do have a mask requirement indoors at all times right now, but we'll do a risk assessment to see whether or not there's other actions that we need to take. So notification really depends on the situation and what's happening there for an individual student. We're very quick to act. And the idea is if someone is testing positive, that we stop the opportunity for a big spread event right away. Dr. Nelsen, anything else that you want to offer in that regard?
We are active in certification of students at this point. 75% of the students have self-certified that they're vaccinated. We are over 87% of the students that have certified that they are fully vaccinated. So we're looking forward to making certain that as many students as possible are there. We're communicating. We have a site over on PS3 that it will be available for our students, staff, and faculty to be able to test and see whether they're okay. We also have the kits available for them. At this point, I hesitate to say this, but I think we all hesitate to say this because so much has changed over the time. I think we're proactive, and I think that our students are safe on campus, and our students have the chance to be able to be tested. And we've given out over 23,000 shots for the vaccinations, and we're going to continue to do that. I'm glad that the Pfizer vaccinations now been FDA approved. We just got thousands more of those doses today, and we're just going to continue to move forward.
So my question specifically was, if there's a large outbreak, will parents be notified?
Let me try to answer that. Yes, you will be notified. It's more complicated than it used to be. When we first started this, it was all about contact tracing. And that was you're trying to find the 4 to 10 people who had been around people before. And you tried to keep it contained among those. Now it's about a larger issue. It's about communicating to everybody. The CDC has recommendations about how many people in a building are, if they are notified, and then how many people you notify. We'll follow the CDC, but we will certainly make sure that you know what's happening to your students and what's happening to our Sac State family.
And I will put a plug in there, ask your students to sign in for our emergency notification system. We do have a system on campus, and for instance, most relevant right now might be a smoke event where we might need to send out a notice, but students, I think all should and have the opportunity to sign up for that emergency notification system. We also ask them to sign up and give us emergency contact information. We ask them to update that every semester. And I just want to really encourage you to have your students do that in the event that something happens on campus. Maybe there's a skateboard accident and somebody slips and falls. The first thing I want to make sure that I can do is reach out, and contact a family member. And so if that student's not able to provide or not able to reach out, we want to make sure we have contact. So our ENS system, emergency notification system, and the students' emergency contact information are things that we continually promote to the students, and we need your help to make sure that they go ahead and put that information in for us.
I want to underline that. Please ask your son or daughter to make sure that they put down the emergency contact numbers. It's been hard when we don't have that information. And as Ed said, it could be a skateboarding. But right now it's more important than ever. If you want to be contacted, we can't not contact you if we don't have your number.
Ed, can you address, can any student on campus be tested for COVID at any point in time?
Yeah, we're just, as the president said, we're putting our testing site together, and it's parking structure. When we say PS, we mean parking structure, not postscript. PS3, that was not a very good joke. So thank you. I think Pat smiled, so I saw one smile. Parking structure 3 is right by the well. That's where our health center and our rec center is. And it'll be on the first floor there. It's just taking us about a week to get everything else up and running, but it's going to open a week from Monday. And we will have, as the president said, testing kits available. Students can go by there, take the kit, they can test there. We'll have personnel to help them. It takes about 15 minutes. I've done that kit myself, as has the president. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world to sit and do, but it's a very important thing to sit and do, and it's quick, and it's very accurate. Those tests have become a lot more accurate in the last year.
It's really important that the students take advantage of that opportunity. If they want to do it in the privacy of their own homes or their own apartments, their own dorms, they can do that. We encourage them to do it on campus. We want to have as many students who feel the need to test. But the bottom line is, and I can't overemphasize this, it's about getting vaccinated. The vaccines are what are going to keep us safe. I know a lot of people are worried about breakthroughs and what will happen because other people do get COVID, even though they've been vaccinated, but they don't end up in the hospital. 99% of the people who end up in the hospital have not been vaccinated. We're working really hard. We're trying to wrap our arms around people and make sure that they get vaccinated, because that's what's going to make us safe.
This is a pretty important topic. I know that we had a little bit of activity in the chat. Hey, Juan, nice to see that you made it. Thanks for your question. Does anyone else have anything they want to comment on or ask about in terms of COVID or vaccinations? I'll give you a moment to think about it. I got a private message from a parent that might be relevant to all of you, asking me about whether or not masks are required. Yes, masks are required on campus, everywhere indoors. If they're in a class or a meeting with someone, if they're working out in the well, masks are required. And outdoors, I'm happy to say, I think the vast majority of people are wearing masks.
Haley, I wanted to address something too that you sent me a message about, because we've been getting this question too from parents and emails from parents, and we understand the importance for you to come up here to see your student and to visit with them inside of their residence hall room. And for right now, what we're doing is we're only allowing students to visit each other that live in North Village. We're trying to keep the students in North Village safer. And so if they're only communicating of seeing each other and visit with each other. So when parents come to campus, I know you're probably going to come here to want to visit with them. We won't let you into their room to visit them, but we hope that we can find a space for you to be able to visit them on campus, whether it's in our Elderberry Beetle room here in Riverview, or some very place outside of the building, or in a public place in another building, such as an academic building. And of course, you can always go into the servery with your student. Once the variant gets into a better swing, our goal is to open up the buildings like we have before, so you can visit your student when that happens. And so we're crossing our fingers that that's going to happen sometime in late September, early October.
There's a question in the chat about masks. Where are they available? They're available as you enter any business, any office, any building on our campus. They're there. We have safety ambassadors that are handing them out. They're totally available for anyone. It is not something. I forgot a mask today. I hate to admit it. I'm kind of embarrassed about it. But I walked out and I did not have a mask when I got out of my car, and somebody turned around and gave me a mask. So they are there.
Haley, this is a parent of a freshman. May I ask a question?
Of course. Yeah, go for it. What can we help you with?
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, my name is Sarah Morales. I'm a parent of a freshman, Erica Martinez. And I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the folks that actually addressed, and I want to call out Bill McCreas. He definitely addressed my concerns. I cannot express how helpful he was, and I was a very concerned parent, and with a daughter with a great anxiety, and he was able to alleviate those concerns. My question is for President Robert Nelsen, and the question is, I completely agree with your comments that the college experience is all about living in the residence. And your comment about the 60-40 being in person and online, when is that going to be opening? I guess my concerns about COVID are lesser in terms of, I know that the school is taking all the precautions and students are hopefully following all the guidelines for that. So my question is, when is that opportunity going to be open for students to be fully in person in the classroom?
Wow, I wish I could answer you. And you want me to be honest, right? And I can't answer you that. We have the variants that are changing. We are trying to meet every contingency that we can possibly meet. This pandemic has changed us. We will probably be an 80%, 20% online, face-to-face eventually, but we don't know. And I can't predict what's going to happen. What I can do is promise you, and I hope it doesn't sound like a false promise, that we'll keep your students, your families safe on campus. We are monitoring it every day. I am constantly surprised at what happens one way or another. I'm thrilled that we have the numbers we have on campus right now. I believe that universities are about us being together. And I think we'll get there. But please, let us remember that we have to do everything that's being safe for our students. So if we have to change, and if something goes wrong and there's a new variant, let's change for the new variant.
Thank you. So first,
but let's look forward. Let's look forward to trying to make sure that our Hornet family can be together. So yeah, it's not a good answer. It's not an answer that I wish I could say, well, on January 1st, we're all together. What I can say is we will always, always consider your sons and your daughters and our family in making these decisions. And I can also say we will listen to your voices and to your concern. Every day in my inbox, I have many, many emails on one side or on the other side. I try to answer them. I try to look forward. There is no clear pathway forward, but there is a Hornet family and there is a sense of us protecting each other. So that was way too long. And I'm sorry, but you touched a button on my heart because I care.
Thank you for addressing it.
Thank you, President Nelsen, and thank you for asking the question also. We do have a question in the chat from Angie, who's asking about roommates around COVID. So this might come up. And Samuel or Nadine, do you want to respond here? So Angie is asking, we encourage students to ask their roommates if they have been vaccinated. And it looks like Angie's student found out that one of them has not been. Any ideas on how this student can handle this?
My advice, if they were doing their roommate agreement, and we had talked about students, because we can't divulge people's vaccination status and when they talk with their roommates. If the student is really concerned about who they're living with and they want to change rooms, they just need to talk to their residence hall coordinator about doing a change of room. The problem is going to be is that there's no guarantee that the next person that the student gets is going to be vaccinated or not vaccinated. Rest assured that if the student is in the room and they're non-vaccinated, they will be tested twice a week starting on the 13th. Since Dr. Nelsen and Dr. Mills both said when the testing site opens up, that is going to be the place to do. I will say this, if your student is really concerned about their exposure, they can definitely either call our office or come to us. We have no problems giving them a self-testing kit if they want to test themselves as well. We have no problem doing that for your student as well. They just need to talk to us or contact us. And whomever the parent was that wrote that, if you just want to email myself and then or Nadine, we can follow up with you as well privately.
I want to reinforce that any student who is not vaccinated will be tested twice a week. And that's within 3 days and everything. So we are being very, very careful to make sure that the dorms, I'm supposed to say residence halls, I screw this up every time. The residence halls are safe and that our students are safe in there. And they're safe in when they go to their classes, because the same thing happens when you go to class. Who do you know who has not been vaccinated? Well, if you're on campus and you have not been vaccinated, you've got to be tested twice a week.
So now we have a clarifying question from Val, who says, wait a minute, I thought they had to be vaccinated to be on campus, including living in the res halls. So go ahead.
And Samuel, you step in and help me on this, okay? In the residence halls, they've got to be vaccinated, okay? But on campus, you can have medical and you can have religious exemptions. And we have to honor those because of the law. And we are honoring them. Samuel, step in and correct me.
The only correction is that if they're living in the residence hall, let's back up. Living in the residence halls, yes, they have to be vaccinated or meet the two exemptions, which is religious or medical. And then those students will be tested twice a week, just like the students on campus, students who are in academic buildings. And let me clarify, that is just for North Village. So the North Village students.
Samuel, should we say anything about Hornet Commons?
Yes, we can. Hornet Commons, they're not required to be vaccinated or meet the criteria to live at Hornet Commons, but if they're accessing the campus, they have to be vaccinated or they have to meet the religious or medical exemption. I was just talking to Dr. Mills yesterday, I think, or day before yesterday. We have pulling all the data for North Village and we're looking into the data to make sure that our students who need to be tested, that we have those students. We're going to do the same thing at Hornet Commons. I work directly with Josh Jones on a regular basis. We're going to pull the Hornet Commons students that are Sac State students to make sure that they've done their attestation, self-certification, and we will see the numbers of students that are living in Hornet Commons that may not be vaccinated, just so we have that data.
Thank you. So we have a couple more minutes with our leaders here. Any other questions? Warren is asking, are you testing students who are vaccinated? If so, how often?
We're not requiring the students who are vaccinated to be tested, but they can be tested. So any student that works with us that is experiencing signs of COVID, if our health center works with them and they say they're experiencing symptoms, we will test them. But we have other students who may want to come by because they, for whatever reasons, they want to have that test. And as the president and Mr. Jones have both said, we'll make those testing kits available. They're not big, they're easy to handle. The instructions are easy. Again, it's not comfortable because you have to swab that thing up your nose, but we'll make that available to any student right now, and we have lots of them. So we're going to be able to do that. But the only ones required, yeah, and Sam is holding it up too. The only ones required are those that are accessing the campus with an exemption. Students who don't have an exemption or a vaccination are not allowed to access the campus facilities or other campus-related activities. We do have students that are taking a full online load. They might still be living at home in the Bay Area or LA. They're not going to access the campus. They've told us that through their certification. And then, that decision is for them. But if they're going to access the campus, they must certify, they have to meet one of those requirements.
I want to make it a little bit simpler, okay? We're talking about access to campus. If you're going to come onto campus and you have an exemption, and medical or religious exemption, you have to be tested twice a week. So it's really not about where you're living or anything. It's about, are you coming onto campus? And any student who's living at Hornet Commons or living someplace else, they want to come onto campus, whether it's to go to the student union, whether it's to go to a game, football's about to happen, whether it's to go to class. You have to have access. You have to be able to say, I am vaccinated, or you have to say, I'm willing to be, and I have been tested twice a week.
So I want to acknowledge our time here and be respectful of everybody's time. It's 8:02. I realize that we are going to have more questions about this, and it feels, as I think Julie put in the chat, it's complex, it's not straightforward. So we do have a town hall Zoom this Friday. I'm going to put that in the chat right now, which is an opportunity for you all to join and to ask more questions. Based on the discussion this evening, I think we might have more questions around COVID vaccinations on campus. I'm going to reach out to our student health center and some other leaders on campus and see if we have someone who might be able to join us to help answer those questions in further detail on Friday. That's tomorrow. Please join if you can, 11:30 to 12:30. I want to thank everyone for being here. I see that we still have, some questions coming up in the chat. So I will stick around and for about another 15 minutes and answer what I can. But I want to release you all to have your evening and just say thank you so much for joining us. This recording will be available on our website, and I look forward to getting to know all of you and answering more of these questions as the semester goes on. Hope you have a great night. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Haley, I have another.
That's yours.
Haley, I have another
Thank
video.
you.
I have to go.
Sure. Bye, everybody. Yes, please. I release you.
Bye.
Go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, I see. Okay, we had a couple people talking at once. I see that we've got a lot of messages coming up in the chat. I see Reito has his hand up. Reito, what can I help you with? Reito, you are muted.
Sorry. So I had a couple of questions when I was on campus with my daughter. There were several homeless people on campus, and even one that literally was making a place for themselves right by the tree outside of Riverview Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was later in the that was later in the evening. The other ones were during the day. I just kind of worry about, she's by herself, freshman, and so is that normal, or I'm also an alumni, and I used to walk on campus and they always seem to stay out on the perimeters. I've never seen them on campus. So, here we are a lot of years later and they're now actually on the campus. So is anything being done to keep them off campus? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. And I think you put that in the chat earlier. So thanks for bringing it up again. So the quick answer is that there's kind of two things to say about it. So campus police will escort people who are homeless off campus. It hasn't risen to it hasn't really been a problem like what I think you are concerned about. It is though, so that's, that's the one thing I want you to know. I think one of your questions was like, who is responsible for that? Is that just normal, or is someone kind of like monitoring who's on campus? So in one way, yes, if campus police get a report, which is like partly what we rely on, then they will, approach the person and kind of figure out the best scenario there. But on the other hand, Sac State is big. You're an alumni. I think there's multiple entry points to campus, and it's public. So it's your student is out in public. It's not unlike being in a mall parking lot, or, you know what I mean? So I think in just talking with her, this may seem obvious, but I'll say it anyway. Make sure that she is aware. A lot of students walk around on their phones the whole time, whether they're looking at Google Maps, or they have their earbuds in, they can't hear. It is a public campus. And so I would encourage people to be aware of their surroundings and, not leave laptops out when they go to the restroom or anything like that. So I hope that helps for now. It's not a closed campus. We don't have gates or walls around the campus. So, there is some risk. It is public.
No, you clarified the question. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Michelle, I see you have your hand up. What can I help you with?
Hi, my son is an older transfer student, and so he no longer qualifies for my medical benefits. So does Sac State have a plan that he can sign up for and pay for, or should he just go to the marketplace?
Yes, good question. The short answer is no. The CSU used to, years ago, about 5 years ago, they stopped providing medical insurance that Cal State students could buy. It's no longer an option. So yes, out to the marketplace.
Thank you.
Yes, and I see, is Valesia still on here? Valesia put a question in the chat a while back about students living on campus. And she said, we were expecting there to be things going on the weekend after move-in to help the students meet and connect with others, hoping to make friends, but there was nothing going on. There was one event that was canceled due to the smoky air. I have a socially anxious kid who wants to meet people and felt pretty holed up in her room since there didn't seem to be anything going on. She wanted to check out Club Rush, but she doesn't know when that is. So that's every day. And it's, there's these booths. They're like students have made them out of wood and they've painted them and they have their club name on them, or they're like a tent that has the club name on it. And they are in two places. They are in the walkway that lines housing going into the main campus, and in the library quad, which is in the center of campus. And there are activities. There are so many activities, Valesia. And I see that Dr. Kelly has turned her camera on, so maybe she has something to say about that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the part that's going to be challenging for your student, especially if they are introverted and they're just trying to get to know people. This information is everywhere, and they definitely need, like, we have electronic monitors where they can stand and watch and look at the stuff, but also their RA. I actually have an RA in each wing on every single floor. So there's up to sometimes 2 RAs on each floor. That is actually their job. Their job is to be a resource for your student. So if your student is sitting in their room and like, I need something to do, they should go and knock on the RA's door or head downstairs to the front desk and say, I'm looking for something to do. This weekend, we only had to cancel one event because the smoke was super heavy. It was the one event put on by RHA, but we also have campus events. So there was a volleyball game on Saturday night, a volleyball game on Friday night, and a bunch of us went over to Fan Fest on Friday evening to kind of meet and greet all of the different athletes. So there's not just our events that are happening, but there are also a lot of club and org events that are happening, but also the reality that we are still somewhat in a hybrid situation. So she will need to, or they will need to definitely look out to see what clubs and orgs are having some virtual events. that they can connect and meet people. But also when living in the residential community, it is gonna be about leaving your room and getting out and even walking around, grabbing your roommate to go get something to eat in the dining hall and just saying hello to someone, because everyone is nervous. These are all first years and second years that have not lived on campus. Everyone has a little bit of social anxiety, but just like Dr. Mills mentioned earlier, the moment someone breaks that ice, the conversation begins to flow. So this is that awkward stage that they're going to be in, where they know that they're going to have to initiate some of that interaction themselves.
Yeah, I understand that, but she was just, like I said, she actually wants to try to meet people, and she did sign up for an event that got canceled, but she was told there should be flyers everywhere and just stuff posted, and she's looking, and she doesn't seem to be seeing
and then
stuff.
This
She's
is
never
the
met
opportunity
her
for her
RA
to
either.
Connect with her RHC. So like I said earlier, I have full-time professionals, master's level professionals in every single building. They're actually situated in the lobby. So you might not have seen it because you all were like flying in and flying up the stairs at move-in. So right when you come in is a front desk with a desk attendant, and there's an office back there where there's a residence hall, coordinator. So they can definitely reach out to that person and just say, I'm feeling a little disconnected. Can you tell me what's going on in the building? That person knows all the events for their building specifically. But like I said, the RA is going to be the best resource. So if she's not finding something on the wall, please have her visit the RA. And then you can always have her email the RHC. And if no one's responding to her, just have her email me, and I will make sure that someone reaches out to her and goes and knocks on her door.
Okay, thank you.
And Felicia, just to follow up really quick, the students are so, they're kind of anxious and nervous. And even I was talking with a student today who has some of her classes in person. She has 3 classes in person and 1 online. And she mentioned to me that she feels really out of practice with doing basic things like walking around because she hasn't been on a campus in a while. She said she feels really out of practice. She has a presentation in a class. She said she hasn't given a presentation in more than a year, and she is a really good student. She has a 3.9 GPA. And she said she used to be really confident, and now she just feels her grades haven't gone down, and she recognizes that logically her skills haven't declined, but she just feels nervous. And I just kind of want to tell you, I don't know how much our students really tell us, if you are getting to know me a little bit, I have older step kids who are 17 and 19. My stepson's a senior in high school, and my stepdaughter is starting her 2nd year at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And I have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten. And, they're nervous and anxious about things, and they don't always talk to us, right? They're not always telling us. But we on campus, we hear and we can see that the students are going through a lot. And so it feels like a risk for your students to put themselves out there. And it is a risk, to socially say, hey, I don't know you, but do you want to be my friend? Of course, they're never going to say it that way. But, maybe just that little encouragement, like, you can do it. Just go wander around, say hello to a stranger.
Is
she doing that?
I think it doesn't help that just one of her 5 classes is in person, and only every other week, every other class. So, already she loved being in the classroom because she was actually talking to people, and it's less scary than just walking up to a stranger and being, hey, let's go have lunch. I mean, they're not going to do that. They just really are not going to.
I know.
So it's like events or stuff where
well,
that's what she wants, but she was like, I don't even know when it's going on. And, but now, I mean, I can tell her now, but, cause they're not walking around even to see the stuff because they're not in class, if you know what I mean. Like if you're on campus going to all your classes, you get to see all those nooks and crannies of stuff going on. So.
Yeah. Hey, did you happen to see, Valesia, really early on, and I'll post it again, and then it's also in the newsletter, I put a link to Hornet Weeks of Welcome events. Did you happen to see that?
In a parent email?
Yeah, I put it in the email that talked about this event tonight in our newsletter. And then I also posted it in the chat, but it was pretty early on, so I can repost it.
That would be great.
Yeah, free events designed to get students to interact. Like for instance, there's a concert outside every Wednesday at noon that's free. Outside the University Union, between the Union and the bookstore.
Okay.
And there's like some hiking trips coming up. Oh yeah, and so also Nadine put other events in the chat, and then I'm going to put the Hornet Wow stuff.
I guess it's just a little, I'm just a teeny bit disappointed because I got the impression that like there's stuff posted everywhere. And so she should be kind of informed, and she feels like I'm looking, but I don't see any like she doesn't seem to be getting the information for some reason. And she is walking around. So I'm not sure why there's a disconnect there, but I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can pass these things along. It feels more active than I thought it would, honestly. Julie, you have been waiting patiently. You have your hand up. What can I help you with?
Okay, I think I'm on mute. Just to share a different side of that, my son seems to be finding things and has been socializing and stuff, and he's, really excited about it. He's meeting people. So my quick question, and you probably already answered this in the beginning, but if somebody does get COVID, is there a place to quarantine?
Yes. Well, are they living on campus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hornet Commons or North Village?
The American River Courtyard.
Okay, so that's North Village. So we've informed students, and we actually have another meeting coming up next week to go over COVID procedures, but we've always been able to house students in isolation locations. We do have spaces that are offline so that we can actually assign a student if they need it. The real truth is it's really going to be up to the student, right? And up to the family. Does the student want to spend a 10-day quarantine in a room by themselves, or do they want to come home and isolate with their family? So students are given those options, and they usually reach out to their family. A lot of times students will decide to isolate at home where there's someone that can kind of take care of them. But if they do isolate with us, they are by themselves. We're not as staff fully exposing ourselves to them. So most that we're doing is delivering their meals outside the door and then knocking on the door and stepping away. So we'll check in with them on a daily basis by phone, but they would be inside of a room on their own, just receiving their meals if they're isolating with us on campus.
Okay, I've already done that for 3 weeks with my son, so I've paid my dues. I don't want him home again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more asking, about like what would happen if his roommates, because I assume if he got it, it wouldn't be that bad. But anyway, I just kind of was wondering overall.
Thank you for the question. We had a question earlier, and I have no idea if this person is still on. Someone was asking, what's the difference between North Village and Hornet Commons? Nadine, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So both of the facilities are what we call on campus, meaning it's on the university's property. But the two facilities are operated by two different groups. So North Village is mainly operated by my office here in North Village. So University Housing Services oversees the staff and the students, the buildings. All of our staff lives in the North Village community. And Hornet Commons is owned and it's operated by a company called Greystar. So those students go through Hornet Housing to start their interest, but they will work with Greystar for leasing. So they are under a different lease if they live in Hornet Commons. And there's a different staff team that actually works with those students. Now, we have done a number of our trainings together. And if you did check into Hornet Commons or Upper East Side Lofts, you would have checked in at the Alumni Center. So we decided to do a dual check-in at one location, but it is two different staff's managing those properties. So if a student or a parent has a question or concern about Hornet Commons, they would reach out to the Hornet Commons leasing office, and staff over there will be able to assist. So if we get anything in our email or voicemail, we'll forward it over to the Hornet Commons community staff.
Thanks, Dr. Kelly. Hey, Michelle. I saw that you had a great suggestion earlier in the chat, which was to have a COVID specific forum for parents, which yes, I think is a great idea and we will do. But I also saw that you had your hand up. What can we help you with?
If you can follow about Hornet Commons, how this is more like a nosy question. How did students get chosen for that facility?
Hornet Commons is an upper division community. It's a newer facility that just came online this year. So it's for sophomores. It's not that they get chosen, they would apply for that. So next year, it depends on what the student is looking for. Next year, when they go into the system, they're going to indicate if they're at that time, they'll be an upper division student. So Hornet Commons would be available for them. At that time, they'll make their choices as to what their interest is, so that the Hornet Commons staff can see that they're interested in Hornet Commons.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for coming. I'll post the recording online. We do have our family town hall Zoom tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. if you can make it. If you can't, that will also be recorded and put on our website. And then based on what the questions we've been getting here and Michelle's awesome suggestion, we will have a COVID specific Zoom for families. Let me get that arranged. Okay. And I'll get that done, soon for everybody. And yeah.
One last question. The town hall stuff, is that the same time every Friday?
It's every other. So it's a recurring meeting that happens every other Friday. Same Zoom link each time. And Valesia, I put it in the chat earlier. I'm just getting it and I'll repost. I'll copy paste.
It would be nice if people have a conflict with that day and time, if you could offer, a different day and time for every other one. But I'm just tossing that out there because I have a conflict.
Okay. Yeah, we try. Here's the info for.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Here's the info for tomorrow. So thank you again. And yeah, really nice to see you all. Nice to see familiar faces, and hope to talk with you tomorrow. I'll also have someone there to help me answer some questions about COVID specific
if I save the
stuff tomorrow. So thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.